Let me share my screen. I hope it's visible to all. Now, before I move on to the demo, I just wanted to walk through to what SSIS mappings we are going to convert in this demo. So this is SSIS. I have this one job here which reads from a source, transforms it, and then loads it into a target table. Once you have all of the SSIS jobs, the first step is to export these jobs in DTSX format, which will be the input for our conversion platform. For that, go to Files, select this option, and name it according to your standards. For now, I am naming it M employee and save it. Now, for the purpose of this demo, I have already exported these 4 jobs. Once you have all of the jobs exported in DTSX format, you are ready to use our conversion platform. Now let's move to our actual conversion platform. So this is our conversion platform. Our conversion platform is a browser-based UI with Python in the backend. The first step is to select our source legacy system, that is SSIS. Next is the extracted workflow. So this is the path where our exported SSIS jobs are present. So just copy this path and put it over here. Next is generation path. So this is the path where our Talend importable code will be generated or will be created. So let's give it this path and let's name the folder Talend code. Now next is Talend workspace path. Now this is only needed if there are dependencies within the job we want to convert. We don't have that here, so this input doesn't matter and we can provide any value. Let's provide it with D drive Talend. Now lastly, we have this project name. So this is where our conversion platform will create Talend importable project. So let's give this folder name SSIS conversion, since we are converting from SSIS. Now, as Chris talked about, the first part of our converter is analyze. We have these two options here, analyze and convert. So click on analyze. It will create an analysis report at the same path where we have our legacy code within the analysis subfolder. Now let's look at this analysis report. So this is the analysis folder and we have this report here. So it provides us with a path of the job analyze. Next, it provides us with the list of all of the files and which workflows it has, how many sessions or rather sub-job it has. If the export is only a job, the workflow name is the same as the mapping name and the session count will be 1. If you go into the session details, it gives you the list of jobs for each session and whether or not they are ELT compatible or not. Now, what does ELT compatible means? So Talend supports 2 types of job, ETL and ELT. So now what is ETL? ETL is where it reads data from various sources, processes it on runtime engines and then writes it to the target. Whereas ELT is where it converts the logic within the job into SQL queries and pushes it into the database and executes it using the database resources. So this is for obvious reasons faster to process. So you might want to use ELT processes whenever compatible. It gives you the option of letting you know which jobs are compatible to be converted to ELT. Moving on to the mapping details, this gives you the list of transformation, whether they are supported or not, and what would they get converted into, and what is their complexity. So as a note, this tool does one-to-one conversion for each component. Next is complexity details. It gives you the aggregated count for different complexities. Like we have 2 mappings with simple complexity, a mapping with medium complexity, and a mapping with high complexity. Analysis report can be used to estimate the time cost for the conversion effort. It also tells you which mapping will need manual intervention to get production ready. Now that we have seen the analyzer, let's move on to the conversion. Let's go back to our UI and click on convert. Now as you can see, it gives a list of mappings which are ELT compatible. It's up to the user to convert into ETL or an ELT job. For this demo, I'm going to select yes and click on submit. Now as you can see, all of the jobs are converted successfully. Now if you go back, this was the path that we provided, right? So inside Talend code, inside SSIS conversion, we can see we have a Talend importable code. So now let's move on to the Talend Studio. So now what we need to do is import those job scripts. Right click on job script and import item. Select the directory where we have our Talend importable code. As you can see here, we have all of the jobs that were converted. Select all of them and click on finish. Now, once you have these job scripts imported, all you have to do is generate these jobs. Right click here and generate them. You will find these generated job inside the standard folder. So now generate all the jobs one by one. Now all the jobs are generated. Let us open this MDIM customer. So as you can see, it is an std type 2 job with two SQL sources, two SQL targets and an Oracle target and Tmaps. There are some of the best practices that a conversion platform follows, like using the reusable connection and closing the connection at the end, as you can see here. Similarly, let's look into mload personal details, which was an ELT compatible job and we expected it to be converted ELT job. And as you can see, it has been converted into an ELT job with ELT input, ELT output, and TELT map. Now, for a job to be ELT compatible within Talend, there are certain criteria that it needs to meet. This was the only job that met those criteria and got converted into an ELT job. This was the conversion part. Now, next step would be to ensure that all the conversions that you have done actually matches the specifications, right? This is where the tool also comes with the test jobs. For example, here we have these three test jobs. These three test jobs are for three different databases. We have MySQL. We had MySQL because we had a couple of jobs with MySQL as a target and some with Oracle and so on. What these test jobs do is that they back up the data from the target table and use the generated flat files as input. Now you might have seen these files. These generated flat files contain information about the target table, the job name, and the key. So when you run the job, these jobs compare and ensure that the transformation logic is working as expected. These jobs are reusable and highly parameterized. All you need to do is import these jobs. These jobs don't need to be generated. All you need to do is import these jobs and use those generated flat files as the sources over here. It will run and it will provide you with the details when run whether or not the output file which we compare matches or not. Thus, it will help you with faster QA and verification of the migrated code. So that's all from my side.